The number of EVs in Malaysia is increasing. Last year alone, more than 2,000 EVs were sold in Malaysia, and so far in 2023, more than 10 different EVs have been launched.
With more and more charging stations popping up all around the country like this one from Gentari, it's safe to assume that more Malaysians will be going electric.
Speaking of electric cars, we have two of the latest in the first ever EV comparison video in Malaysia, the BMW iX1 xDrive 30 M Sport and the Volvo C40 Recharge. The Volvo goes for 288,000 ringgit while the BMW goes for 285,000 ringgit. So let's see who does what better.
This video is powered by Gentari. Check out Gentari, the leading EV fast charger provider in Malaysia with more than 160 chargers nationwide. Since they're both EVs, let's start off with the batteries first. The Volvo C40 comes with a 75 kWh battery pack, while the iX1 on the other hand has a 64.7 kWh battery. Both cars have an onboard 11 kW AC charger, although the Volvo does edge out in terms of fast charging, supporting up to 150 kW of DC power, while the BMW only does 130. So, a smaller battery on the BMW, but they actually both have quite similar range. 440 km on the BMW and 450 on the Volvos.
It could be the weight, because the Volvo is actually more than 100 kilograms heavier than the BMW.
Well, yes, but it's not just that. Thanks to the sealed-off underfloor, closed-off kidney grille and flush door handles, the BMW iX1 is actually the more aerodynamic car of the two, with a drag coefficient of just 0.26 compared to the Volvo's 0.316.
Performance-wise though, but later on that. Design-wise, I find the C40 understated but sporty. It's dramatic but not too shouty.
The iX1 on the other hand is a lot louder, especially with the aggressive M Sport body kit and the sharper character lines.
If I have to take a picture of this car, I take it from here and from here. I just like how the sloping roof looks. It's also more aerodynamic, and as a result, it gets 18 more kilometers in range compared to the XC40 with the same battery size. Together with the tail-light animation, I think this rear end just works.
Your sloping roofline is pretty cool, I'll give you that, but I just think the iX1 is still more macho on the road, especially with the wider rear fenders and the bigger taillights that just glows up at night. And I mean, sure, my car has a more regular SUV silhouette, but it's still more aerodynamic than yours.
The only thing I want to point out about this entire exterior is the front section. It looks identical to the XC40, and as Volvo's first EV-only model, I wish it had a more distinctive face. From the front, you can't tell the difference between the XC40 and the C40.
I actually think the opposite of you, because I do like that nothing on here shouts that I'm an EV, maybe aside from the sealed-off grille and the blue outline on the BMW logo. Aside from that, everything else is just like any other BMW SUVs out there, and at the very least, at least it's got regular sized kidney grills. I can't say the same for many new BMWs these days.
In terms of equipment, these two cars are quite equal, with both getting LED adaptive headlights, daytime running lights, LED taillights and 19-inch wheels.
The BMW is a bit flashier with its sort of gradual glowing turn indicators up front, but the Volvo does have an upper hand in terms of creature comfort, as it's the only car here with front fog lights and keyless entry sensors on all 4-door handles. The BMW only has them on the front too.
So Arif has explained in detail about all the Google functions in here, the backstory behind this topography panels, and that the entire interior is leather-free. Check out that review. This interior is a very, how should I say, familiar place. That's because this and this has been around for quite some time now.
The cabin of the iX1 is definitely a lot more livelier, and even though I still consider it as minimalist, there's still plenty of patterns and angles to appreciate. Between the two dashboards, this one here just feels a lot more modern, especially thanks to this BMW curved display up here with a lot more things to flip through on the instrument cluster.
There's not much going on in here except for the navigation and trip meter displays. Some might want more, different displays, different colors, but I do believe some prefer it to be simpler. doesn't feel so cluttered. Less is more.
I particularly like how this center console is just floating in mid-air, giving you a lot more storage space down here.
I have a dustbin. It's quite smart. Remove it and you'll have better access to your things and more storage.
My car got a lot more colors for my ambient lighting system, and even the Harman Kardon logo on the speaker grille lights up at night.
I have no such thing here, but these are also Harman Kardon and these do light up at night, although in only one color. Do you guys actually change your ambient lighting all the time though? For me at least, I usually set most of the features once and be done with it. Fluffy features aside, the Volvo does have one simple yet functional feature that the futuristic BMW doesn't have. Lumbar support for the front seats.
Oh, I've only got memory function and only for the driver.
Personally, I just wish the cabin was a little brighter, like the Scandinavian living room feel in the XC90. Volvo calls this minimalism and understatedness, but knowing how demanding some premium car buyers can be, they might say it's underwhelming. What do you think?
When it comes to the wow factor, I think it's clear which cabin stands out more. Don't think I need to elaborate any further.
Most might agree with Woon, but I will say this cabin is still very typically Swedish, very IKEA. It's smart, practical, quirky, got plenty of storage, but unlike IKEA, the build quality here is actually pretty solid. Minimalism is also applied to the infotainment display. The main addition here is also the most important one: Google Apps and built-in services. Volvo is the first car company to work with Google on this. It allows you to use Google Maps directly, and it even gives you an estimate of your remaining battery charge when you arrive at the destination. Basically tells you if you have enough charge to make it or not.
The BMW doesn't have that, but it does come with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You still have to use a wire in the Volvo.
There may be a lot more things to play with here, but the operating system might actually take some time for you to get used to, because there are so many settings that are hidden under multiple layers of menus, which makes adjusting it actually quite troublesome or even potentially dangerous when you're driving. And in that sense, the Volvo simplicity might actually be a good thing.
There's a 360-degree view camera, but I wish it would show the front or rear angle simultaneously. Instead, I gotta hit the icon to get a different view.
BMW's surround view monitor is a bit smarter as it displays either the front or rear cameras next to the bird's eye view. And not only does the camera angle turn with your wheel, when you're getting a little too close to something, the cameras will also automatically switch to a 3D side view for better visibility.
Like the Volvo though, BMW's new approach also makes you do everything through the touchscreen because they've now removed the rotary dial on the center console.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of laying my eyes off the road as well. But it's not just BMW and Volvo. Most car companies are doing this. Why?
Yeah, I mean, with the rotary dial, it was a lot easier to go through all my settings without looking off the road for too long.
Reminds me of a time when we can text and drive without looking at the keypad. Something Woon won't know.
I'm not sure if I'm actually envious of that. Anyway, since these are family-focused crossovers after all, let's move on to the back seats.
I think the back seats of the iX1 is more slanted, definitely more relaxing.
Yeah, there's definitely more headroom here as well. Between both cars, I think leg room is about the same, just like the aircon vents and also the dual USB-C ports. Let's go check out the Volvo.
Yeah, I think the seat is quite a bit more upright, but I did notice that your cushion is a lot softer than mine lah. But why your this sunroof like perpetually open one ah?
Yeah, there's no shade to it. Some of you guys might think it's a bit crazy, perpetually open and all that, but there's more natural light, and from my experience the last few days, I've not had to increase the fan speed or even lower the aircon temperature. The Volvo comes with a hands-free powered tailgate, one of the most sensitive I've experienced. Also something the BMW doesn't have.
What the BMW has though is a larger boot, 490 litres on here compared to just 413 on that.
That's a major difference, but the only difference because the height of the boot floor and the height of the boot opening, both cars, they're quite similar. Although I must point out with the C40, because of its design, it is a lot higher, so it could be a bit hazardous when you're in a multi-story parking with a really low ceiling. What it lacks in space here, it makes up for it in front.
If you know anything about EVs, you'll know that they are quick, and these two SUVs here, well, they are no exception.
My BMW iX1 is powered by two motors making up to 313 horsepower and 494 Nm of torque. Maximum power is available for 10 seconds at a time in boost mode, and when it's activated, it'll do 0 to 100 km per hour in just 5.6 seconds.
Just like the BMW, the Volvo has two motors as well, making it all-wheel drive, but this one has more power. Much more power. Full power, full time. No boost mode needed. The Volvo has 408 horsepower, 660 Nm of torque, 0 to 100 in 4.7 seconds. The numbers on the meter change so quickly, you'll keep going until you get frightened. I love the power and it's really fun, but I think it can have less power. For the longest time, Volvo equals safety. I never thought I would describe a Volvo as too powerful.
Thanks to their EV powertrains, both cars have incredibly smooth and quick acceleration, but what sets the iX1 apart is that it drives like a BMW. It just feels more composed, more planted, and more athletic in just about every driving situation. And if you've ever driven a BMW before, you can really just hop in here and get comfortable with the car really quickly.
There's one area I feel the Volvo can do a little better. When you need it to be agile, nimble, maybe to avoid something on the road, it will comply, but it feels a bit floppy. The ride is not uncomfortable, but definitely on the firmer side.
Unlike the C40, the iX1 gets the M adaptive suspension that should mean that you can adjust it between hard and soft, but in reality,
from where I'm seated, there really isn't too much of a difference in terms of sports or comfort mode. The car is still firm no matter what, and as a result, it just feels a little jiggly when you're going through uneven roads.
Being EVs, because they're so quiet, cabin insulation is very important. Road noise, tyre noise is going to be more obvious, so I'm happy to share that both cars are actually pretty quiet on the inside. Visibility up ahead, left and right is perfectly fine, but the rear, not so. It's like looking through a postbox hole. But what to do? All in the name of aerodynamics and looking good. People who wear high heels can probably relate. Pain, but look good. I'll deal with it.
Mine is more like a floor-to-ceiling window comparatively speaking, because my view out back is great, and I even have the rear quarter glass, so it can actually be really helpful when you're pulling out of a parking lot. That section is unfortunately covered in the Volvo.
speaking of pulling out of parking spots, these two cars are packed to the brim with safety features, including Level 2 semi-autonomous driving, autonomous emergency braking, a blind spot monitor, and rear collision prevention. The BMW does, however, pull ahead in terms of convenience features thanks to its reversing assistant and automated parking system.
As we have mentioned, both cars offer very similar electric range. 440 km, 450 km is alright. Some cars are offering much more than that, but here's what I want to share. From my observation, 450 km range in an EV is very different from 450 km range in a petrol car. From my personal experience, even if both the EV and petrol car has the same output, has the same range, if they're both driven in the same aggressive manner, the 450 km in the EV will drop a lot quicker. EVs in general are the complete opposite of internal combustion engine cars. EVs are super efficient for town driving and stop-go traffic, but on highways, even if you're just cruising, if it's faster than 110 kilometers or so, you'll notice the battery charge dropping a lot quicker. So in a way, it's really not about the range as well. I'd like to see the battery hold charge a lot better when the car is performing at a high level. It's just like smartphones. When you have multiple apps running at the same time, you're transferring files, you're browsing the internet, the battery will drop really quickly. But smartphone makers are doing everything they can to make sure the battery holds charge a lot longer, even when it's operating at a high level. And I wish the same for EVs.
Fortunately, both of these cars can charge up quite quickly, but to be honest, I just can't wait for the future where it takes the same amount of time to charge as it does to refuel a car. I mean, it is quite quick now, taking only 20 to 30 minutes to charge using a DC fast charger, but refilling a car takes less than 5 minutes, and on top of that, there still aren't as many chargers as there are petrol stations. So until that changes, driving an EV still requires more homework and planning.
Yeah, if I'm going for a road trip in an EV, driving a little faster, I don't want to add 1 hour to my travel time just because there are 2-3 people ahead of me at the charging station. Of course, you can plan every detail of your journey, book your charging station, get there in time, but I don't want to travel like that. I want it to be free and easy. For now, I guess we'll just have to step on the accelerator pedal like we're stepping on tofu and rely on the car's regenerative systems to help conserve some battery power while it's on the move.
With all that being said, charging your EV in Malaysia has never been easier thanks to the exciting EV roaming collaboration between Gentari, Charge and Charge EV. With over 600 charging stations nationwide, EV drivers can now enjoy the convenience of accessing, activating and paying for charging sessions from any partner platforms. So wherever your journey takes you, you can rely on Gentari's wide network of chargers.
The C40 comes with a one-pedal driving feature which you can switch on or off and really take some getting used to. Unlike normal driving, you accelerate with the accelerator, but to brake, you lift off the accelerator. Just like slamming on the brakes for hard braking, this one, the faster you lift off the accelerator, the harder the braking is. Really gotta rewire your brain.
The iX1 also has something similar and is activated via the B mode on the gear selector lever. There's also a handful of regen settings to choose from, including something called the adaptive mode that actually looks at the traffic ahead to adjust your regenerative braking accordingly. Personally though, I don't quite like the fact that I can't predict what my car is going to do, if it's going to let me coast or kick into high regen mode. So for most of the time driving this car, I've just left it in low at the expense of some driving range.
Factory numbers for consumption is 19.8 kWh per 100 kilometers, and in the real world, although I've not finished one full charge, I clocked 268 kilometers with 23% battery left and 100 kilometers range remaining before I had to recharge. Consumption was around 20 kWh per 100 kilometers at that point.
I meanwhile clocked in a consumption figure of around 17.5 kWh per 100 km, which is also just about at the top end of what BMW says it'll do. Plugging that into a calculator, and my real world range should be more than 370 km before I'll need to look for a charger.
I'll tell you what though, driving an EV encourages someone to be a smooth and calculated driver, because if you do, you'll see some pretty interesting results. For example, that day I drove to the office, 10 kilometers away, I had 20% charge, 100 km range. I drove in a reasonable manner. When I got to the office, I still had 100 km range and 23% charge. If you're looking for an electric SUV that's minimalist, functional, and very quietly packs a lot of power, then you should definitely look at one of these.
But if you're looking for something that's more youthful on the outside, vibrant on the inside, and more importantly, something that's quintessentially BMW, well then, this is it. For more information on the BMW iX1 xDrive 30 or the Volvo C40 Recharge, do log on to AutoBuzz.my.
If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon for the latest notifications on our newest videos.
Join the Gentari membership plan for just 899 ringgit, providing seamless access to Gentari's nationwide charging network for all EV owners. You will benefit from a 50% discount on each charging transaction for a year period. Charge with confidence, anywhere, anytime. Don't wait any longer, subscribe through the Charge app today.